Hello, I'm Kelda Yoon. A Toronto lawyer well known in the Chinese community has had his license suspended after being accused of stealing clients' money. He helped process real estate and business transactions, but court filings claim the proceeds from the sales went into his trust account and were never given to the clients. Angelina King reports.
More than $1 million. That's how much the courts have ordered lawyer Ping Tang Tan to pay two of his clients. Here he is speaking in a real estate video online. Tan's clients sued him after he kept the money they made in a real estate and business deal. One of them is a couple who is planning to use that money to retire.
Instead of peaceful days and financial securities, we found we were living in a nightmare.
I spoke with Shoulong Jung. We're concealing his appearance because he has some concerns about Tan's ties to the Chinese government. At the end of last year, Jung and his wife sold their auto parts distribution business in Vaughan for more than $520,000. Tan was the lawyer who helped process the sale, and they'd used him in the past, so they trusted him. The proceeds from the sale went into a trust account held by his law firm called Tan and Associates. But Tan never gave them their money.
We felt deep anguish and betrayal as someone we trusted with our future had deceived us. You can imagine the stress and strain took a toll on our well-being.
Last month, the judge ordered he paid Jung and his wife more than $530,000, the money owed plus their legal fees. The police are also investigating. Now, Tan is accused of doing something similar to another couple before that. They sold this home in Markham at the beginning of 2023. Because they aren't Canadian residents, they had to hold back a quarter of the sale proceeds until they paid taxes. But after those taxes were paid, Tan didn't hand over the remainder of the money, more than $500,000. They also filed a lawsuit, which Tan once again didn't defend. A judge ordered he pay them more than $550,000. They too haven't seen the money. Here's their lawyer.
I certainly think it's had a significant effect on them. People implicitly trust their lawyers. They just assume that once they give their lawyers money for safekeeping, that their lawyers will not abuse that trust. And obviously, in this case, that trust has been shaken.
And just last month, another couple sued Tan for more than $400,000 in relation to the sale of a unit in this North York condo. He's yet to file a statement of defense in that case as well. Tan could not be reached for comment for this story. The Law Society of Ontario, which regulates lawyers in this province, has suspended Tan. During their investigation, he closed his practice and retired. Tan consented to the suspension but did not admit guilt, and the case has not yet been heard in a discipline hearing. So what can someone do if they're in a similar situation, fighting to get their money back from a lawyer? Well, all lawyers in private practice must have insurance. And so Michael Lesage says the most common situation is when a lawyer simply made an error and their insurance will cover the claim. However,
an exception to the law pro policy, or most insurance policies, of course, is intentional conduct, or when a lawyer fails to cooperate with their insurance company or report the claim to them.
Which is what happened in Tan's case, he says. Civil court then becomes an option if you can afford to sue, but if you win, that doesn't always mean the person pays up, as we've seen in Tan's case. The last option then is the LSO's compensation fund, which you have to apply for. Two of Tan's clients have done that. It can take around a year for approval and is capped at $500,000. Last year, the fund paid out approximately $2.7 million against 13 lawyers. Angelina King, CBC News, Toronto.
Police are asking for the public's help in finding a missing woman from Markham. She was last seen at a wellness center in the area of Woodbine Avenue and Steelcase Road nearly a week ago. But as Tyler Cheese reports, police have made an arrest in relation to the case as they continue their search.
Investigators with our Homicide and Missing Person Bureau have laid charges in connection to a missing woman from Markham.
York Regional Police have arrested and charged 26-year-old Chengling Yang from East Gwillimbury with kidnapping a Markham woman who went missing after last being seen at a wellness center in this plaza. They've laid 3 charges against him: kidnapping, forcible confinement, and aggravated assault. But even with this arrest, police say they haven't yet found 57-year-old Ying Zhang. Last Thursday, July 25th, Zhang was reported missing by her family when she didn't come home from work. As for the arrest, police say that happened on Saturday. They also released images of a white van with the license plate BZ43851 believed to be involved in Zhang's disappearance. The suspect was also seen near the van with a large green compost bin like this one.
This suspect vehicle is also believed to have traveled to Kawartha Lakes to the village of Kirkfield, which is east of Lake Simcoe, in the afternoon of the 25th. We believe that this vehicle and this bin may be quite readily identifiable. And as this was occurring during daylight hours, we're appealing to any witnesses, anyone that may have seen something out of character suspicious related to this.
Investigators say they don't know if the suspect and Zhang knew each other, but they do think she was targeted. They're also still looking for other possible suspects, but they don't believe there's currently any threat to public safety. As part of the investigation, police are also looking to speak with any witnesses who were in the area on July 25th and asking anyone with more information to contact them. Tyler Cheese, CBC News, Markham.
The City of Toronto is urging Ontario's government to restore funding for dozens of childcare centres that were planned in local schools. The province said school boards were taking too long to build the centres, prompting them to reallocate the funding to other childcare providers that can open spaces sooner. As Ryan Patrick Jones reports, it means more uncertainty for parents waiting to get their kids into daycare.
Tut Nguyen is expecting her first child in January. Her unborn baby is already on several wait lists for childcare in Scarborough, but now she has fewer options.
It's devastating to hear the news because just knowing that I would have more options and more chances to get into childcare, because frankly, even when I'm on 10 childcare wait lists, there's no guarantee that I will get a spot when I need it. So these additional options would have been amazing for me.
Last week, city staff told councillors the province had informed them that it was cancelling funding for 48 previously approved childcare centres in Toronto's public and Catholic schools, totaling more than 3,000 spaces. Most were in areas with the highest demand for subsidized care, including some parts of Scarborough, north of Etobicoke, and Humber River Black Creek.
Their intent is to transfer those spaces to the community, asking the community to build them. However, there has been no commitment to transfer the capital dollars.
Councillors passed a motion asking the province to reverse the decision, and if not, then to provide the money to the boards or the city so they can build as many centres as possible. Responding yesterday, the Minister of Education said no spaces are being lost, but the funding is being reallocated to other childcare providers with shovel-ready projects.
We're tired of waiting. Families across the city and across Toronto are waiting for those spaces to be provided as well. And there are proponents out there that are ready, willing, and able today to get shovels in the ground on those projects.
But this public school trustee says many of the school projects are also shovel-ready. They just need the province to approve them and pony up the cash.
We've applied for the funding and they said no. We repeatedly put in applications. We've designed them. They're ready to go. All they have to do is give us the money.
As a parent, Nguyen says she's tired of governments playing the blame game. She just wants affordable childcare for her kid.
I know that they could have done better to make sure that these childcare spaces are delivered to parents and families and children, and they did nothing for a few years, and now they're just pointing fingers at each other.
Ryan Patrick Jones, CBC News, Toronto.
The lights are sporadically being turned back on in a St. Jamestown apartment building after the major flooding the city experienced 2 weeks ago. Power restoration still isn't fully complete, and as Nama Weingarten tells us, some residents and local politicians are demanding compensation for the weeks-long headache.
The power is back at 77 Howard Street, but not exactly back to normal. You see, right now the building is powered by this big yellow generator that's right behind me. And in a letter to residents that just went out yesterday, the property management company says they're working to deactivate it in the next 2 days as part of the restoration process. That means those living here will have to go through periodic power outages as they take the in-suite power off the generator and place it on the main electrical grid. The outage happened on July 16th when the city was overwhelmed by heavy rainfall. According to tenants who spoke to CBC, a pipe burst on the 11th floor, causing water to flood the elevator bank and spark an electrical fire. Residents say that, depending on which floor they live in, the power came back just days after the flood thanks to the generator. But they also want to see compensation for what they had to go through that week.
We can't even go downstairs to wash our own clothes. We have to pay to wash our own clothes.
It was chaotic. I have 2 cats, so I had to take them to a hotel because also it was boiling hot in there. If they can cut off our rent or something, I think that looks great on us. It would be great to get like rent abatement. A lot of us, we lost money like on groceries. Our insurance wouldn't cover our hotel stay.
Kristen Wong-Tam, the Ontario MPP for the area, wrote a letter to the property management company late last week, asking them to compensate residents for all expenses the outage caused, along with other measures like a rent abatement.
I have learned that unless the local politicians get involved, unless there's media pressure, unless there is city pressure bearing the weight onto the landlord, they will not come to the table willingly when it comes to compensation for loss.
The spokesperson for the property management, Wellesley Parliament Square, says there's no plan for the compensation Wong-Tam and residents are asking for.
There is no rent abatement that's being offered to tenants right now. There was compensation in the form of assistance provided with meals and refreshments throughout this episode.
This is the same property management responsible for a building on Parliament Street, where back in 2018, residents were evacuated for over a year because of an electrical fire. Now, it's still not entirely clear when power in this building is going to go back to normal. The spokesperson for the property management company says they hope it will be fixed by the end of this week, but also didn't want to make any promises about an exact timeline. Nama Weingarten, CBC News, Toronto.
You're looking live at Front in Spadina, where a bus lane that has been installed to get transit riders moving. The dedicated priority transit lane opening today, weeks after construction shut down one of the busiest streetcar routes. Clara Pasica now with a look at how it's working.
This is the new dedicated bus lane here on Spadina Avenue. It's a southbound lane, and it stretches from Richmond Street West down to Lakeshore Boulevard. It's meant to reduce congestion, especially as commuters have been told that they can't use the TTC streetcar here and instead have been switched on to buses because the TTC says that it needs to do overhead wire work and track work. So far, speaking to TTC commuters this morning, this new dedicated bus lane is getting mixed reviews.
I think the biggest thing is that it takes out a whole lane for drivers to drive in. And having the streetcars makes the flow of traffic much better when traffic is already a problem in Toronto. And when buses stop, cars will get backed up, causing a much more heavier flow of traffic, which you don't want in a city, especially when you're trying to get to work.
Love it.
Okay, how come?
It makes the buses go faster and I get to work on time.
Hope is the impact will be positive for helping people get around, and that this will improve commutes, especially for transit riders. Some commuters, including those who drive, worry the lane will lead to even more congestion, not less. The councillor for Spadina Fort York, Asma Malik, doesn't think so.
Spadina being such a busy route, one of the busiest in our city, 30,000 people at the very least are moving through it on any given day. I'm a TTC rider myself. I also drive in the city, so I know that it is really important for us to be using every single measure to ensure that while this construction happened, folks are able to get to where they need to go in a reasonable way. And what we've been seeing is unacceptable. And with transit times tripling, that means that all road users are facing congestion and an added level of frustration.
As commuters try to leave the downtown core and head for the Gardiner and the Lakeshore, the hope is that this new lane will ease congestion. The city says it will be assessing the impact of the lane closely. Clara Pasica, CBC News, Toronto.
York police are searching for a suspect in a vandalism investigation that they're calling hate-motivated. Police releasing this video of the suspect dressed in a Scream-style mask and robe. On Monday, officers were notified of 7 incidents involving businesses and a synagogue that were spray-painted with anti-Semitic messages in Vaughan and Markham. They happened in the area of Yonge Street and Centre Street, as well as Clark Avenue between midnight and 1 a.m. Police have identified the suspect vehicle as a light blue sport utility vehicle. Major League Baseball's trade deadline has just come and gone. The Blue Jays had positioned themselves as sellers, having already made several deals in recent days. The question was, would that trend continue? Greg Ross joins us live from the Rogers Center. Greg, did the Jays make any more moves today?
Well, Calda, this was a pretty quiet day for the Blue Jays, no doubt about that. They did make a couple of moves, both of them coming right before the 6 o'clock trade deadline, in both pretty minor deals. They acquired third baseman Charles McAdoo from the Pirates in exchange for a utility player, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. They also acquired Jay Harry from the Minnesota Twins in exchange for right-handed pitcher Trevor Richards. These two deals come on the heels of a couple of bigger trades that were made yesterday that saw the likes of starting pitcher Yusei Kikuchi and DH Justin Turner both shipped elsewhere. The Jays getting back prospects in both of those deals. But as we head into the stretch drive here, there are a lot of Blue Jay fans who are still not entirely certain the direction that this team is heading.
This has been one of the most frustrating seasons for Blue Jays fans in recent memory.
Well, they are playing good at the beginning, but when they need to hit a ball, they don't hit the ball.
We miss those 2016 days, I'll tell you that. And they're just selling the farm right now. So wish they do better, but that's all we got. Go Leafs go, right?
This is a team that was expected to contend for the playoffs this season. Instead, they were big-time underachievers, particularly their pitching staff.
The starting pitching has been very up and down, as opposed to being the second best rotation in the league like it was last year with the same group. And the injuries and the ineffectiveness of the bullpen have really cost them.
After a poor start, the Blue Jays offense has been better in recent weeks, but they are still a long way from where they should be.
In the middle of June, they were like the 26th best offense in the major leagues, which is horrible. And, it really puts a firm stamp on the underachieving thing.
The question now is, who is to blame? Many point the finger at the front office and general manager Ross Atkins.
Ross Atkins cannot possibly be back as the general manager next season. And I'm thinking, the day after the season ends, you have to pull the plug and start fresh.
Now, heading into this trade deadline, there were a lot of rumors swirling about the Blue Jays star slugger Vladimir Guerrero Jr. The Jays obviously electing not to move him. There have also been some reports surfacing suggesting that he might want to sign with the team to stay here long term. Those could be decisions the Blue Jays might wait until the offseason to make. He has 1 year remaining on his contract, and those might be decisions, Kelda, that might be up to a new general manager if things do change in the front office.
All right, thanks so much, Greg. As we head to break, here's a look at where the markets closed today. The TSX rose 45 points, the Dow climbed 203 points, and the dollar traded up at 72.20 cents US. We will be right back. Meteorologist Chris Potter joining us now with a look at the forecast. And Chris, I may be needing that umbrella when I head out this evening.
Yeah, it does look like that. Finally, we got into some rainfall. It looked like there was a chance all afternoon long, but Toronto actually stayed dry until pretty much right now. But that rain won't last long, and we're not targeted by the steady, widespread rain like a lot of residents to our north got into. Significant rainfall to our north, but now everything will at least start to wind down. Temperature-wise, hey, we weren't too far off the normal daytime high for this time of year. We didn't flirt with breaking this record, but it sure felt even higher. It felt at times close to 40 in a lot of locales across the GTA. Normal daytime high, once again, 27. We peaked just shy of 30. It looks like 30 or above is what's on the menu over the next couple of days. So we're going to have to bear with the heat just a little bit longer. But don't worry, freshness is in the forecast just at the end of the tunnel. Or should I say at the end of the 5-day. Temperatures currently backed off a little bit because of that rainfall moving in. Still, though, feels like 37. In terms of that active weather, it's all thanks to a system moving on through. Obviously, it was a humid day. It was a little hazy in the morning as well. Now that that system's moving in, it's utilizing all the moisture, all the instability, heavier rain and thunderstorms to the north. Here in the downtown core and surrounding areas, we still have this little wave of rainfall just starting to slide up. Also, some heavier rain moving through the Kawarthas. That's going to be the story for tomorrow through the Kawarthas and into eastern Ontario. It looks like we get a fair weather day. Still hot, though. Cloudy periods through the overnight. As we get into the day tomorrow, we should see that cloud cover thin out nicely, and that will give us mostly sunshine. Clear to mostly clear through the evening as well as the overnight. As we step into Thursday, there is another system starting to wander in from the southwest. It looks more likely to hold well to our southwest. it's not until Thursday night and into Friday that we should get back into a higher risk of some of that rainfall. Temperatures through the overnight around 20, 30 or higher for your daytime high tomorrow, feeling as high as 30, and it does look like that kind of weather will last through Thursday. Into Friday, we get some rainfall. Saturday morning, maybe a few showers in the morning, and then we're still quite hot on Sunday, Kelda. But like I said, by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, we breathe a little sigh of relief. Temperatures in the mid-20s for the most part.
Okay, I like that. I like it a little cooler. Thanks so much, Chris. That's our show for you today.